Unfortunately, I'm going to be speaking English. Okay, that works. So hi everyone, I'm from Lithuania, quite far away. Very happy to see you. I'm falling in love with the beautiful Taiwan. In these days, together with the business delegation, we met a lot of institutions, a lot of officials. We made some friends, and I feel that I know already a bit of a problems or challenges you're having with the fintech. So I'm going to try to maybe introduce the Lithuanian way of thinking. Just before that, I'm going to begin from who is Lithuania. And Madam Vice Minister just previously had already touched a bit of a points on that. But then again, just to remind you what it is. This is map of Europe, and you can see highlighted the European Union. Lithuania, firstly, for you, is European Union. That's a 450 million healthy people. Healthy and most importantly, wealthy as well. It is unexploited opportunities from Asian countries to invest into having establishment in Europe. And the question could be, what about Lithuania? So Lithuania is, how it works, this land here. Small country, on the top is Latvia and then Estonia. So these are the Baltic states. Lithuania is 2.8 million people society. So that's not that much, right? It's less than 1%. But we provide financial services for every 1 out of 10 European citizens. 1 out of 10, soon to be 1 out of 5, I hope. Question is, how did we came up with the, being a small country somewhere far in the east of the Europe and being so famous and so attractive on fintech? Some say that Baltic states are not small, they're compact. We use the euro as a currency, and we are part of the NATO alliance. So these are the numbers on current situation, because I'm trying to provide some information about who is Lithuania currently. We have we count. It depends on how do you count. We count that we have more than 260 fintech companies in Lithuania. That does not include any cryptocurrency companies, because we don't consider them to be a fintech from its nature. We have around 7,000 people working in the fintech services. And most importantly, two numbers. One, we are the biggest fintech hub in Europe. When it comes to licenses, when it comes to infrastructure, we are number one. But then again, at the same time, to keep a balance, we are number 8 globally on the Basel AML index, which measures how good we are on compliancy. So we are a balanced nation with both good growth, a positive way of thinking about the fintech, but also in terms of managing risks. We know our limits. On the map, you can see that Lithuania, this is the payments sector. So these are the companies, these are the numbers of companies that has licenses of payments, but are not banks. Okay, this is non-banking payment service providers. So Lithuania, as you can see, has the most in Europe. UK, to your knowledge, is not a Europe anymore. So we don't consider UK as a true European Union member anymore. lucky for us, we did use this opportunity a lot, and it was part how we grew our numbers. Our main competitors are Ireland, which is here. Surprisingly low amount of number of licenses, but they are very good on fintech. And Netherlands, which has also pretty good infrastructure, English-speaking society, and other good things, just such as bicycles, for example. And also red district, right? Red light district. Some names from Lithuania. So these are just some names, right? I wanted to highlight our fintech success stories here. Some of you might know Revolut. So Revolut is a fully licensed bank operating across to Europe from Lithuania. We have a TransferGo. Some of you may know it. We have a lot of we have at least I think at least 3 or 4 unicorns here. A tiny nation of almost 3 million people. But moving on the left side is a QR code. I'd like you to scan it, use this opportunity. In it, you will find Lithuanian FinTech Landscape Report. So this is a report about what is currently in Lithuania. All the numbers, cool pictures. It's unfortunately available only in English, not Chinese, but I hope you will find it interesting as still. On the right side, you can see a graph of our developments. So from 2016 to 2022, we went pretty big steps. Currently, we have around 130 non-banking payment service providers. So this is just non-banks. These are the institutions that does e-money and does payments. That's a pretty substantial amount, but I'm more happy to say that it's not about the number of licenses. It's about the volumes, the revenues, the influence that we had on Europe. And this is also growing year by year. So another question I want to ask, maybe no, not to ask, to answer, why companies choose Lithuania, right? So we asked them the same question as well. As you may see, 84% said, what did it say? Yeah, so access to EU markets. So what does it mean is that you must understand Europe as a one single nation, European Union, I mean. So with one license in any of the European nations, you can access all of the European Union. You don't need a license in France, license in Germany, license in Italy, license in Spain. You only need one. You only need one, maybe in Lithuania. So that's the European framework. That's how it works. And this, we feel, is the major advantage we have. But then again, a question and the competition here is that all of other countries has the same in the European Union. So we need to be creative on the ways we see things and way we attract. Other thing I want to point your attention is that we have a fintech-friendly regulation and infrastructure. I'm going to elaborate a bit more on that as well, but to understand my role here and to understand what is Central Bank of Lithuania. So Central Bank of Lithuania is something like Central Bank of Taiwan, but also a supervision commission. So we are integrated supervision authority in Lithuania. Here you also have a banking academy, all these kind of research stuff. All of it is concentrated into one single giant institution in Lithuania, which I'm representing of. I think the main difference from other nations is that every new company, whether fintech or non-fintech, for us, it's a client. And I mean it. It's a client. And don't get me wrong, Keith. I know you're coming from Singapore. You might have a little different approach. We have our boundaries. So at the Central Bank of Lithuania, there are different people responsible for sales, different people responsible for licensing, and different people responsible for supervision. And between them, we call it a Chinese wall. I know it's fun to say this right now, but we actually call it that way, a Chinese wall, because a huge strict wall between these departments. I come from the sales. I rule the sales team in Lithuania, in the Bank of Lithuania. So our team is trying to attract new market entrants. We're traveling all across the world, mostly in Europe, but then also in USA, in Asia, maybe we'll try Africa as well, and we're looking for possible entrants. The other team is responsible for supervision and risk mitigation. It's their job. But the main idea is that we see companies as a client, and we see that we try to use a client approach. Respectable, they need to feel warmly welcome, and we must assist them in trying to get around all the regulations and establishment. Meet and greet with the regulator is one part. We have also our licensing process is tailored. And by saying tailored, I don't mean that we are dropping some requirements out of it. No, it's the same framework across the European Union. The question is, how do you process the licensing applications, for example? In Italy, we just recently lost a client to Italy. So I do sales, but I sell country. That's a different, it's a different caliber, right? So we lost a client to Italy. Usually these big companies, they apply for a license in 2 countries in the European Union just to mitigate the risk in case one gets dropped off or revoked, so the other kicks in then. So just giving some time for the translator. So the company applied for license in Italy, in Lithuania at the same time. There was something about that company that they canceled the process. We didn't understand why we didn't get the inclusion. So in Lithuania, they were supposed to have a license in like 6 to 9 months. In Italy, they got a license after 3 years. That's what I call a tailored process. Low bureaucracy, strict on deadlines, and very, very efficient. There's also a different government institution, Invest Lithuania. It's a government promotion agency. They help with business. Their help for businesses are to get talents, to get lawyers, to get different offices, or any other things that they could need in order to understand Lithuanian market. Then we have an infrastructure, a very good one. I hope you recognize this picture. So you will find what I call the infrastructure. In Lithuania, in such a compact country, not small, compact, you will find all possible infrastructure you need in order to build your fintech case. You need a KYC solution, it's a hand reach. You need a transaction monitoring, it's on a hand reach. You need a core banking, we have like 10 or 20 core banking services providers. There's a palette to choose from. So that's what I call an infrastructure. It's all based in one city, basically in one district of a city. So that's compact, and that's infrastructure. We also have a Euro payment system. So if you're a payment service provider or a bank, or just basically do payments, you need to connect with the Euro payment system. So what it does is connects you to that. Not every country in Europe has that. For new approaches and innovations that we don't know anything about, we have a regulatory sandbox. I know your commission is working into that as well, so I'm happy to share that. And we are both, together with your commission, part of the Global Financial Innovation Network, which also navigates these regulatory sandbox stuff in between the countries. Other thing why they choose Lithuania is skills. So 85% of professionals in Lithuania speaks English language, which is very important. You do want to have an English language speaker if you're building a business in Europe, because in Europe we have like 30 different languages. 53% knows even third language, which is mostly Russian, German, or French. That is very important, and that's where we are keeping up with the Netherlands. So they're very good in English. I'm not going to touch the bottom line. You can read it. Then the last question is who? And that's the most important question of the day. When I came to Taiwan, I had two missions. So first, I want Taiwan's financial companies to come do business in Europe, in 450 million wealthy people nation, through Lithuania. Get a license in Lithuania, provide your services in Europe. We call it Gateway to Europe approach, and Madam Speaker from the Parliament just in the morning said that. But I also found that Taiwan is unexploited business opportunities for fintechs of ours. So you still have a lot of challenges that we had in the past. The key is that we have solutions for them already. So what I really want to do is our fintechs, in order for them to, not you, but I want them to bring you the solutions we have and share the knowledge, share the know-how of our technologies. I came up with this idea. So as we are gateway to Europe, I like Taiwan to be gates to Asia. And that is all. Thank you.